Okay, so I gave you a glimpse into the future with the last video, but we're gonna have to build that glimpse now into reality. So we're rewinding back time to where we left off before I showed you this more advanced feature integration. So I'm right back where we were, right? Where we had the text integration, and the text integration should be working if we run the test workflows. By the way, if you want this activated, since you're in bonus mode, all you have to do is click on this toggle from inactive to active, and then you don't have to test it anymore. But do that at your own discretion, because that means it's always on until you turn it off, all right? But from here I can say, what's going on? Run a test, see, make sure that it works. We see that this is executing successfully and that we get a response from our AI assistant. If we want voice integration, we could, of course, change the AI agent so it's going to accept the audio conversion and make all those changes given these considerations. But if we do that, then we're going to lose the text. We don't want to lose the text. We want to add features, not replace features. So my question to you is, if we have one output that's coming out of this trigger, one output, but we know that that output type could be different, right? It's not always going to be the same consistent type. We're not talking about the text within the string. Because yeah, the text always changes when the output is going to be what we're typing into WhatsApp, hello, da-da-da. But if the type changes, if it's no longer text, if it becomes audio or text, then my question is, if that output can change, then what do we need here in order to handle the possibility of multiple varying types of output? You can think about it, maybe you thought, well, some kind of mechanism that can take that output and route it accordingly depending on the type. And we can do that very nicely in N8N. This is a big buildup for a node called the switch. So we're going to get the switch, and you can see here the switch routes items depending on their defined expressions or rules. So when we do this, all right, and things are going to get a bit more advanced. So if this is a bit harder for you to grasp, just take it slowly, take your time. But I'm not going to go as slowly as I did before because this is a more advanced section. But when we have the switch, we can create our own rules. We have this data, right? The rules that we want to say is, hey, we have one type of data which is going to be a text and one type of data that's going to be a voice. So we're going to name our first one here. We're going to actually rename that output to text. So we have our text. And the value for our text is going to be what? Well, that can be what the text was from our body from before. So instead of just putting this directly into ChatGPT, we're now moving it into text format. So it'll be outputted as text. And we're going to see also why that's valuable, because audio essentially is going to be turned into text. And we need to now modify ChatGPT to the OpenAI model to always always receive the data based on that same output name, text. All right. And here's some code. Take a look at this routing rule. We can create rules. Basically, think of them as conditions, like a contract. Like if this happens, then it's going to mean it has to be equal to this, or it should do that, or blah, blah, blah. We can change these rules. This is programming without having to really type it all. So here the rule is, well, if we get this text and we say this text is a string and that string exists, that's all we have to say. We don't have to say if it equals or blah, blah, blah. All we have to do is say, hey, if the output is a string of a text, then output that name into text. That's it. That's all we got to do. Okay? Now, here's where it gets interesting, and this is something new. What if it's not a text? What if it's something else? So I want to go back here. If we run this test workflow, it's going to wait for an event, right? And now if I were to type, hey, how's it going? Just as a test, we should actually see that we get a result. But now, if we run the test workflow again, I want you this time to use your phone and send a voice note. So we're going to go into my phone here. And you know what? Maybe I could do this from my computer just to show you. But you can do it from your phone. I'm going to let it access Let's go to access. Oops. Hey, what's going on? How you doing today? If I send that, we're going to get this successful output, but no response, because it doesn't know what to do with what I just did, because what I just did wasn't a text, right? It was a voice note. So if I open the switch again, I want you to notice something different. In the input now, it's no longer text. We sent a voice note, so we have this audio and an ID. We have an audio file. So this is where the switch becomes powerful, because now we can get the text or the audio. So if we're getting the audio, we want to add a routing rule. And for this one, we're going to call it voice. And the value here is going to be this ID of the audio. Move it in. And we'll do the same thing. Here, we're going to say if it exists. So we'll say string. If this exists, remember, it's not the audio file, it's the ID, so it's a string. Now we can do something with that. And when we add a second rule to the switch, take a look what happens to the switch. Now we have text output and we have voice output. We've got two options here, two interesting things happening here. This is a great place to stop. Leave you on a cliffhanger. It's like Breaking Bad season 3, right? Things are heating up. Okay, maybe it's not that at all, but things are heating up one way or another. So in the next lesson, we can now actually build out what we need to get that audio, because it's a file. We're going to have to grab that, find a way to grab that audio, go through that Death Star of the over-complex Facebook stuff and authorization, be able to grab it out and then convert it to a text and then send it back into the AI. All right, so it's not that bad, but there's a few steps involved. And yeah, it's going to take a little bit more of a deeper understanding of working with HTTP requests, understanding authorization tokens, and understanding data conversion. All right, file types. Good stuff, guys. I'm excited to dive into this with you. Let's leave it off here, and we'll continue in the next lesson. Bye for now.